Hi guys, it's me, Kathy. Mrs. Handy, are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing? Hope it's going well for you. And I hope you can be with some family. I know it's awkward for a lot, but some family, or get out to the beach or whatever you can do to enjoy yourself. Have a picnic. Go by yourself and take a walk, Enjoy the outdoors. Just enjoy the rest of the summer. So by the time you see this, it'll probably be beginning of August. So happy August! And anyway, so I'm going to decode President Trump's rally in Anchorage, Alaska. And it happened a bit ago, but I'm still doing it because it's important. And Anchorage is 72. And that equals Deadpool, which is funny because right around the time of all this happening with his rally, there was a little boom at the Hoover Dam. And it made me look up, what's going on with the Hoover Dam. And I think it was the good guys, nothing's a coincidence. We've all been wondering, is something going to happen with the Hoover Dam with an FF? A good guy, FF, that wouldn't be to worry about, or it will look like one, like a big bad thing. But it brought attention to the Hoover Dam. And I remember our favorite Anon posting a photo of from the movie Deadpool. And, it's making fun of like Avengers and Marvel and all that stuff. So he's in a costume. So if you can remember when that was posted, or what date that was posted, I did a quick search on 17th letter, that letter, POSTS .online. That's one way to look at it, at these posts. If you can let me know when it was, I'd appreciate it in comments. And it's great to help each other. And if you don't, back to summer, if you can't be with family, please try to connect with each other. I'm always talking about that. But, like on comments, give each other your Telegram link or handle, Truth Social, whatever it is that you're using. You can post it. You can even just say, if somebody commented, just add, oh, hi, I'm, my Twitter handle is blah, blah, blah. No, not Twitter. Nobody's on Twitter anymore. But, Telegram or Truth Social. And talk to each other, I think it's healthy. I do. I really do. So, let's see. And Deadpool is a term, after I looked up about the Hoover Dam, there were articles that mentioned Deadpool. So, this is all planned, the whole thing is planned. All these articles are planned. I mean, you can decode the articles and you go, oh, well, our guys wrote that article. I mean, I think they're writing every article. I think they've hired just about every unemployed writer on the planet, or off the planet, whatever. So Deadpool is when the dam can't generate electricity because there's not enough water moving. So, there's supposedly been rolling brownouts and all that kind of thing. So I suppose that's going to be one of the FFs when this all comes about, along with Yellowstone, likely, and the big one off of California and all that stuff, and the tsunami, like I'm always talking about. And now we've got the WAR, that hasn't been announced, but that's what they're working up to, the good guys. And it's all the countries are working together. They're all in on the gold treaty. They're all in on the reset. And if they didn't sign the gold treaty, they aren't part of it, and they won't be in on the proper value of their money. So they're all working together. So back to Deadpool and Anchorage. That's what I was working on earlier. And it equals timing, which makes sense. And Holmes, our Sherlock Holmes, right? Holmes. And I've been talking about Greg Wagland's channel, Magpie Radio, and he does all this. Well, he doesn't do all of them, but he does all but 30 of the Sherlock Holmes audiobooks, and he narrates it. And it's awesome. You will absolutely love it, even if you're not into decoding and you're just into this for the thrill of it or whatever. You will love listening to him. And you're listening to the voice of God, by the way. So I would listen to him. I would. And yeah, so it's Greg Wagland is okay. So there's Simon Stanhope with Bite-Sized Audio Classics, and there's Greg Wagland with, like I said, Magpie Radio. And Simon sounds like he's JFK Jr., but so does Greg Wagland. So both of those channels sound like they are junior. But it also sounds like, when I do decoding, that it could be that JFK, his brother, remember all the stuff about the twins, is alternating or, doing some of these. But at least it's junior, if not both. And they can sound like whoever they want to sound like. So even though there's the English accent and they both sound a little different, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Let's see. So Deadpool equals Harvard. Now think about what this means, right? From what we've talked about. Pilot, reborn, and let's see. Oh, I won't go into the last one yet. But Harvard, pilot, and reborn. So who do you think that is referring to? It's our junior, okay? And he started with, well, he didn't start, he was a lot of people in the past, but if you've watched my videos, you'll know who all these people are I think he's been. And there's a ton more, right? I mean, it's just scratching the surface. It's just what I've worked on. So Harvard, Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. went to Harvard. And he was in the Hasty Pudding Club, so he was an actor. And I've got a photo, a screenshot of, not a real solid photo, but a screenshot of when he was in the Hasty Pudding Club, and the men, especially back then, were acting as women. So they didn't look at it as like cross-dressing and all that. It was just kind of like Shakespeare, well, that's a whole nother story. But Shakespeare, where there were only men were actors, and they played the women's roles too. So it's the same idea. So Joseph Patrick is who we're talking about right now. And he was reborn, right? Harvard pilot, reborn. He didn't die, because you don't die. You just go out and you come back in again. And he was a pilot in World WW2. And there was I've got a whole thing about that, but he was on a mission in World War II and going to France to bomb the Nazi installation, and it went bad. And let's see. The last match I have for 72 is Singer, and I was just working on it. I don't have it right here in front of me, but yeah, our junior was a famous singer, in my opinion, at least for the original recordings. And I think what they did was they sent out this person as the original singer, but I think our junior did the recording. And maybe he went out in the beginning too. I don't know. And I don't want to get into it yet because I don't have it all in front of me, but I think it was also other people singing. So, and if you can change where you are in time, you can do a bazillion things. You can go in and out, in and out. You can pop here and pop there. You haven't used any time, right? Because everybody says to me, in comment, well, not everybody, a lot of people say in comments, well, how can he do that? He doesn't have any time to do that. Well, he's out of time. Literally, out of time. Out of it. Like our time thing is like a constraint on us. You know, we think we're on that linear time, and I'm using my hands, you can't see again, and we're not. It's like a wheel with spokes, and you can pop in and out. So let's see, what else can I tell you? Anchorage actually also equals WARFARE. I should have spelled it when I just talked about the same idea. And let's see. So I'm going to take too long. When you do Anchorage, Alaska, it equals somebody we know and love, who is a Melania, who's acting as Melania sometimes. And Anchorage, Alaska is 117. And it equals Jackie Kennedy. So, hi, Jackie. I haven't said hi to you in a while. I love you. I love you. I hope you see this. It'd be so cool. Anyway, Jackie Kennedy equals Queen Melania. Does that make sense? When you listen to the video I put up before this one, Queen Melania, like I was talking about Princess Diana and Jackie are both acting as Melania. So if you haven't seen that, look at my last video. So, Queen Melania. Let's see, Jackie Kennedy, same value. Jesus' wife. Wrath of God. That's the Beast event. Revelation 11. It's Go Time. The vampire. Ooh. Yeah, it's awful. Some of this stuff is just awful. Torn in half. Yeah, just. And Dying Star. Now, you would think it means, you know, out there, which is not out there, but anyway, Dying Star. It's like dying famous person. And then Diana Trump. And I know we talked about this in the last video, but whatever. I got to say what 117 is for Anchorage, Alaska, so we're doing it again. Diana Trump. And that's because Diana is Melania part-time. Let's see, and Billy the Kid matches Jackie Kennedy in Anchorage, Alaska. So Billy the Kid, and President Trump has brought that up in a couple of different rallies, talking about Billy the Kid and other notorious people like him. And he brings it up because it equals Jackie Kennedy, Diana Trump. I mean, if you look this up on gematrix.org, you're going to find that. So, and I forgot, it seems like every third video or so, I finally remember to tell you what gematria, whatever is. And here we go again. I'll try to remember. And so I use gematrix.org, GEMATRIX.org, and it's a way to calculate all these numbers, all these phrases and words, and it comes up with matches. And please bear with me. I know most of you people know this. And anyway, so when you do this, it's like Bible coding is what it is, or decoding. And A equals 1 all the way through Z is 26. It's like B is 2 and all. And you plug it into, this is what I do, in gematrix.org, and just put in your word or your phrase that you want to decode. It could be something you read in a headline, a phrase. It could be something President Trump says. You could also use all the capitals from, say, a headline or from a President Trump post when he does it on Truth Social. You can do it that way. Or you can use a phrase that he posts, whatever. And then you push calculate underneath where you just entered it. You push calculate, and then you have a choice of 3 categories underneath it. And the first one is Jewish, gematria, and then English, and then simple. And you pick the third category, and it says simple. Hit that, and then it will come up with all these matches on simple gematria. And then you look at it and you go, okay, this is what I'm working on, and this is what makes sense. And not even just makes sense, but what the Holy Spirit that's in you or talking to you is telling you makes sense. And you can either put it in your phone, you know, write it wherever you want, or write it down like I do with all my papers, you know. And you start to get a story out of all these. It starts to make sense a lot once you do it several times. And you'll start to see a theme that you are coming up with. And that's what you are supposed to be working on at that moment in time. I don't tend to just memorize, well, you know me in notes, I don't memorize a lot, but I don't think of like, oh, this word means this, this, and this, and memorize it. I mean, it would help, I suppose, but there's different situations that come up, and that word can refer to different things. So that word or phrase or the capital letters. So even though you know, oh, this means like Anchorage, Alaska means Jackie Kennedy, even though you know that right now, that doesn't mean Anchorage, Alaska is the only match, right? It's Wrath of God is another match, and Diana Trump. But if you work on this another day, say in a month, and you're working on whatever is 117 Anchorage, Alaska, you could come up with a totally bunch of different matches that make sense to what you're working on. So you kind of have to look at it. I don't go pages and pages and pages into it because that takes forever. I mean, you could if you have all the, you know, you don't care. But I did that in the beginning because I didn't know any better. And oh my gosh, that takes a long time to go through every page on gematrix.org and get to the end. Oh my goodness. Wow. It's a long time. So I tend to just do a few pages, or if I find what I need in the first 2 or 3, I don't go any further. So, sorry that was so long. Okay, Billy the Kid. And okay, so 117 and, you know, Anchorage, Alaska, Jackie Kennedy, all that. Yeah, it matches my grandmother's name, Marguerite. That's what I was supposed to get to. Isn't that funny? That matches her name. So Jackie Kennedy and Marguerite. And that's how Tom Numbers has you work on things to get you going. And it is a good way to learn. He has, what is it called? Trumpology. It's called Trumpology, and I think at the end of each video that he does on Psych Club, P-S-Y-C-H, you can get that $17, of course, and it helps you learn it. It's just an audio with a little, like a workbook idea that you can download, a PDF, and work on it that way. So if that's your kind of thing to do, that's a great idea to get that, because nobody else has anything like that. Nobody else has sat down and done it like that. I certainly haven't. Let's see. So the rally was at Alaska Airlines Center. That's 197. Everything is coded. Everything, especially when he puts all that out about rallies. And it equals, as always, don't panic. Like when the FFs happen and the fake WAR happens, and it's NUC. It's not that I can't spell, I'm pausing because I don't want anything to happen to my channel. NUC LEAR WAR. It's going to look like that. People, it's so intense, you guys. It's going to be so intense. I'm smiling, but I'm trying to encourage everybody, you know, because I'll probably be like, okay, it's happening. Oh. As always, don't panic. And Women for Trump. and that was the sign that R Jr. held up when he was dressed as the original Vincent Fusca. And at the rally, the very first rally, that not the second or third, but the first rally, whichever, I can't remember when it was, at Moon Township, Pennsylvania. And he stood up and he had that sign, and he was like holding the sign, and it had, what did it have written on it? It was written in red ink, and it was Ruby Cute. And I think I'm going to get to that eventually. I don't know when, but I'm going to get to that. Let's see. And, okay, 197, Alaska Airlines is also 7 trumpets. It's also O positive bloods. And I'm still kind of sticking with my theory that O positive is JFK's blood type. I know a lot of people think it's, different, AB negative, but I'm still sticking with that. If we can disagree, that's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. And live and learn to forgive, and please help me, please. And that's about the Beast event. Let's see. And it was at Alaska Airlines Center, and it was, I've got the whole address because when they posted that it was upcoming, they had all the times that people could be there early and park and all that kind of thing. And it said it was at 3550 Providence Drive. This is all planned. Think of how far in advance this stuff is planned, right? That Anchorage, Alaska equals Jackie Kennedy, and this place was on Providence Drive. And it was 35 for POTUS 35, JFK 50. That was the number. And you can also look at it as 3550 as a 55 in the middle for JFK Jr. JR. That's what 55 equals in simple gematria. It's JFK JR. And you have 50 for comms. Like, it's perfect. So the zip code for Anchorage, Alaska has a 99 in it. So 99508. 99 is most high, 50 is comms, and 8 is God's infinity. So you lay the 8 sideways and you have the infinity symbol. And then I noticed as I was waiting for the rally that they were one of the songs, I mean there's tons of songs, but they were playing House of the Rising Sun, and you can look at that as sun as S-O-N. I mean the song is S-U-N, but S-O-N, he's coming back. And it's by the animals, which is interesting, right? Because they were acting as animals, these bad guys, and the people in the Garden of Eden. And let's see. So House of the Rising Sun is 252, and that equals the storm is upon us, the second coming of Christ, the man you know as John, sooner than you think, it's the final countdown, and emergency alert system. And a line from that song, House of the Rising Sun, it's I did it from memory, I hope I'm right. It's been the ruin of many a poor boy, and God, I know I'm one. So interesting. One, Alpha and Omega. Let's see. So Anchorage, Alaska. Let's see. I wrote that down again. Sorry, I was duplicating myself. Okay, I'm going to definitely skip around. This would take way too long. So let's see. I saw some things you usually don't see, and I'm thinking he's double talking as usual, and he's talking about what he saw on video or beyond video, what was really going on with these bad guys. And he says, fulfill my promise. And he talks about a good man. We know he's talking about there, our junior. And he's been with me from the beginning, right? Definitely. A wonderful woman. Let's see. Talked about Sarah Palin. And he said Sarah 3 times. Well, Sarah is 47, and that's John. And it's Diane. Now, it happened to be in Gematrix.org, but it's Diane with 2 N's. Makes me think of twins, like she and Jackie are twins. Not identical, obviously, but from in the beginning. Let's see. Talked about Roe v. Wade. He didn't say versus. He said Roe v. Wade. It's 93. And that equals I'm God's God. And to me, that makes sense. And I got gasoline down to 187 a gallon. Now, I said that quite often. And 187, when you just write that out, is 173. And that equals the last Trump and third world, that word that I keep spelling, W-A-R. So that matches. Let's see, skip around. You can worry about nuclear warming. We'll have a little more beachfront property, he said right after that. I didn't decode everything. It's impossible. Well, it's not impossible, but, you know. He said, talked about the China virus, and then he was talking about how they took care of what they did. And he said, we did that. He said that twice, so that's important. And we did that is 94. That equals John. And everybody thinks that means his nickname, right? Well, to me, it means 2 Johns. There's 2 Johns. There was John Jr. and there's John. And they were twins. That's a whole, I already went into that. And then at 8:44, he said, someday we'll all have to sit down and have a little talk. And to me, that's the fireside chat that I've been working on, that I get that they're going to have something like that when, say, Jackie and JFK and John all sit down and they let everybody know what's been going on. He said, right at that moment, too, he said taxi increase. So he said T-A-X-I, not tax. I was calling it a Trumpology. That's what Tom calls it. But President Trump has been calling it Trumpism. So I suppose I should be calling those Trumpism. Well, he didn't say that's a Trump. He says his phrases that he is known for is a Trumpism. So I'm talking about the misspeaks that are on purpose. So anyway, taxi is 54, and that equals R 3 times, which is interesting, isn't it? There's 3 R's. And the next ones are play. These are all separate 54s. Play, chess, blackjack, Vegas, which is where Juan has been a lot, Gotchya, literally Gotchya with a Y-A on the end. And from what I understand from Juan, they would bet from Vegas, and I'm sure other places, like Monte Carlo or whatever, and places that are not even like that, I'm sure they were betting. And they were betting on small people, and they were betting on how long they would last in whatever situation the little people were in. They were watching on video, live video. And they were betting on how long that one would last, and compared to maybe one to another, how long one would last than another. I don't even like to talk about it, but that's what that is referring to in my opinion. He said, not one soldier was killed in 18 months, and 18 is R, and most people think of it as JFK Jr., or as I say, R Jr., and 18, by maybe there's more than one R. Maybe JFK is another R, right? Because there was twins, and we just came up with 3 R's, so maybe President Trump is one of them. I always thought of him as above that, but who knows? He said, so he was talking, so this is right after we got Taxi and Vegas, Blackjack, Gotchya, and then 18, like he's watching, and that's kind of what I'm getting out of all this. He's watching all the same thing. And then he said, every time you think of this subject, you get sick to your stomach. The arms and the legs, that's about what he said. The arms and the legs. And he was talking about, he's double talking, but at that moment he's talking about, you know, they're getting blown off in Afghanistan, but he's referring to the little people and the events that I was talking about that they were betting on. Then he gave a whole bunch of numbers that were had 7s in them, and 17, 71,000, reversed to 17, 70,000, and 7,000, and 7 is God's perfect number. So you can look at it, take all the 7s out, and you had 777. He talked about the border. Let's see, where should I skip to? He mentioned unlock boxes, because he was making fun of that they were called lock boxes. So he called them unlock boxes. He said that 3 times, unlock boxes. And that's 141. And it equals, I am the storm. You know what? I added that. And frazzle drip. If you don't know what that is, look it up. I don't want to get into that. I think I get it is another one. And he talked about an alien 74-year-old woman was beaten and buried in a shallow grave. He was talking about illegals. And 74 is Jesus. And let's see. He was talking about, he was referring to in this line that he took some pictures with some policemen backstage. So he said they look like movie stars. And I think he brought up movie stars because of, look at the movie stars and how bad they look. Now I know you can decode movie stars, but I don't decode everything. Let's see. He said, he was talking about the countries that wouldn't take back their gang members down in Central America. And he said, and the countries wouldn't take them back. And then he says something about how much money do we give them? And then he said, no more payment, no more payment. And he said that twice, so that's important. That's 174. And that equals, this is a real God code. He said you're going to have a lot of rich folks, and to me that's after the reset. Talked about Murkowski in Alaska, and who's long gone, I am sure. She's not a Republican. He said that 2 times. She's not a Republican. And that's 202, and that's all the world's a stage. Let's see, which is a line from Shakespeare, which I'll get to in another video about Shakespeare. And let's see, he was talking about al-Baghdadi. They've been looking for him, and then we got them for 20 years. Oh, I forgot what 20 years is important too. And he's talking about landing in Afghanistan, and we're turning lights out in the plane. And he said, there won't be any light. And plane's so dark, I can't see anything. And he said, squeaky voice of a computer, squeaky voice. And to me, that sounds like a couple of things. I think when the big event, the big FFs happen, where it looks like the world is ending, like all the volcanoes and the tsunami and all that stuff, that, let's see, there's going to be an eclipse, or maybe they just turn off the sun. I don't know what the sun is. I've heard that there's two suns. I know somebody who saw two suns. So, anyway, but it will get dark when it's not supposed to somehow. Let's put it that way. Lately, I just call it the eclipse because it's just easier. So there won't be any light, and in the squeaky voice, and he said of a computer, but I think it will be on a computer. It'll be on our phones, and I think it's going to be Junior. It just makes sense. I mean, Junior called in as a Coast Guard, from the Coast Guard, and it was after his plane went down, and he called in talking about his plane going down. He just, had his voice. He sounded a little nasally, and that was him talking on Channel 5 to Susan Warnick, and I remember watching it. So, yeah. It's just too funny sometimes. I don't know. So I think it's going to be him talking. And then he said, Sarah. I said, oh. And then he said, great job, Captain. And, referring to both Johns, or our Junior and John, President Kennedy. They were both in the, well, let's see. Yeah, they were both in the Navy at some point. President Kennedy was on that PT 109 and saved people and all that when he was in World War WW2. And our Junior was in the Blue Angels. Yeah, the Blue Angels. So I've seen video of him doing it. And let's see. He's talking about I'm going to get a flat top like him. He was referring to somebody, maybe in the crowd, I don't remember. And flat top, I'm thinking they talk about the Earth. Not that it's completely flat, it's in a crater, but that's just like one of those things that people throw around, flat Earth kind of thing. He said something funny. He said, I'd rather work. Other people sleep. I don't sleep. Because I've said way, way, way back, I wonder if we've been cheated and we're not supposed to even sleep. Like, maybe it is that we're not supposed to need sleep, and that we only think we need sleep. And what if when everything changes, we don't need sleep? Maybe that's what happens. Maybe we're not supposed to be in the dark. Maybe it will always be sunny. Like, what is that TV show? I didn't watch it, but it's always sunny in Philadelphia? No. Well, anyway, it's not important, but there's something like that. It's always sunny. And I'm telling you, everything means something. Every song has meaning, every TV show, every movie, if not in the title, in a plot. So for anything to say it's always sunny, I think it means something. So what if the sun is supposed to always be out? And what if you don't get tired? Like, that's probably how we're supposed to be, now that I'm thinking about it. Other people sleep, I don't sleep. That could be what we're talking about here. And then he talked about Cain, Raisin, the guy, I can't even remember which is his first name, but anyway, he was talking to a general that was there in Afghanistan, supposedly, and let's see, Cain, Raisin, or Raisin Cain, I don't know. It's so funny. And President Trump says at that moment, I would never have been a general. I would never have been a good general. I don't know. But he was General Washington. If you look at pictures of General Washington, George Washington. And look at him and compare him to President Trump. President Trump has a photo. I can't get, everything's backwards from where I'm sitting, like on the screen, so I won't get it right. But, he has this famous pose that he does when he's really serious and he's doing a real photo where he knows what's going on, and it's kind of a prearranged photo, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And he's got his head to the side, and I've got a bump in my nose, just like President Trump. No. And yeah, so look at George Washington's. There's a really popular pose that he had from a painting, and it's kind of the one that, before I was even involved in all this, that's, if I thought of President Washington, that's who I would have thought, what I would have pictured is this portrait and the angle and everything that he did. Well, President Trump and Washington, same profile, same everything. Just compare it on images. Just pull them both up and look at it. And then he said, this is President Trump talking, he says, Raisin Cane, this is how he put it, Raisin Cane, and Cain comes up because of the Garden of Eden and eating people. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Strike that, reverse it. No. No. That's Willy Wonka. Raisin Cane said, I'd hit him right in that, and he said the word, effing, I won't say it. That's what he said during the rally, or Save America rally. I'd hit him right in the effing center, sir. That's how he put it. Right in the center, sir. And President Trump said, we're led by fools. He said that twice. And I can't remember which one. One of them comes up coding as the Joker. I can't remember which one. When you do coding on them. So to me, they're the two Jokers. And I already talked about that in another video. Maybe it was the last one. I don't remember. But we're led by fools. Also, when you just enter that into Matrix, it's 166. And that equals New York, NUK, ED. And the Big Bang Theory, the TV show, right? And both ears ringing. And I've got a feeling that even though it might not be near us, we're going to hear it. And somehow they're going to make it happen. I mean, I don't know that for sure that we'd hear it, but I've got a feeling that it's going to be so intense. So intense. Let's see. And he brought up, scare the SH out of him. And Conan the dog. Remember, I've been talking about dogs and Greg Wagland and all that. So that ties together. And he's talking about Soleimani and what else? And then he brought up no legs, no arms. Again. And then he said wives. And then he said wives again. So he said that twice. Like there's more than one. And when you think about it, Diana and Jackie both playing Melania, that's one way of looking at wives too. And then he's talked about Bagram, and then he said 1 hour from where China makes those weapons. He talked about Shinzo Abe, who probably was long gone. And then he talked about, I don't know who he's talking about. I didn't write that part down. He said, she's a total creature of the Washington swamp. And I'm thinking it's another Beast event reference. And let's see. That's getting way too long, you guys. I'm so sorry. He said, Mueller, Bull, Shit. I know I can say it. I'm not against saying it. I just don't want people to complain and get flagged. I don't want to get flagged and have warnings and all that stuff. So Mueller BS, and that is 189, and it equals Beast of Revelation. And yeah, he brought up 18 Trump haters, 18. And at that, right after that, he did one of these. Oh, can you see it? Yeah, he did not the 17th letter. He did like that, like a snake symbol. And Garden of Eden reference, bad guys reference. And he said, I've never seen anybody run so hard. And I think he was talking about, at that point, I don't remember, somebody running for office. And he said, run so hard. And I'm thinking of, Eve's, Mary's, whoever it is, gone, running off with excuses likely. He talked about a lot of research, which is what we do. And let's see. And he talked about Lisa Anwar, the Alaskan, I can't even remember what it stands for, Anwar. Anyway, that area in Alaska that was off limits, gosh, I don't know how long, probably since it was put in a little compartment, with some preserve. And he said, Lisa Murkowski closed it. It won't be hard the second time. Second time, like, first time it didn't happen in at the cross. The second time would be now. It won't be. I don't think he really means it won't be hard, but the second time is the part that's important. Let's see. And he said Alaska fishers. And he didn't say fishermen, and that's like a Trumpology, or maybe it's a Trumpism now, I don't know. And fishers is 84, and that equals calamity, trigger, incoming, and oh wow. So President Trump says that a lot. He'll go, oh wow, at whatever. It could be at a rally, the crowd is chanting, and he'll go, oh wow, or whatever, but he does it quite a bit. And so that equals all those things, calamity, trigger, incoming, which is interesting. And he said missing Native Americans, and let's see, and I remember back in Canada, Queen Elizabeth visited, and when she left, there were Native American children from different places gone. And there's a lot written about that if you're interested. And let's see. And he said, let's see, and the woman, and then there was a gap, I didn't write everything. And stand up for parents' rights. We stopped it. He's talking about what is it called? The critical race theory. And he said we stopped it. He said that 3 times, not twice, 3 times. And that's 152. And that equals Black Swan event, which could be a bunch of things. It could be the Beast event. It could be the market. It could be all kinds of things that when you look back on it, you go, oh yeah, that was kind of what he's talking about. It also equals Donald Trump, DEAD. So is it going to look like at some point, like I thought quite a while ago, it's going to look like he's gone too? Like, I haven't been getting that lately, but it was interesting that it came up on this one. So, he doesn't, it's not like he doesn't know what's in the matches. He knows. I mean, he wrote it. And I think it's off-planet technology is what all this gematria.org is. That's what I think this is. And I've even gotten that in coding. That's what gematria is. So, Um, so anyway, I was going into Donald Trump and then the D word, Black Swan event, and then also what equals 152 is the gold standard. So I thought that was a happy note to end on after what I just said just a second ago, the gold standard. And and Michael Cottrell, this is off my I'm off my notes, but Michael Cottrell, Cottrell, I'm pretty sure he's junior too. Yeah, junior. First, we were all talking about it, and Karen Armand, hi Karen, was saying that it's President Trump as he calls in on the show that we listen to, and I've listened to it for a long time now, and it's all about the reset and kind of keeping everybody's happiness going, so the people don't get too discouraged. And Mark, M-A-R-K, Z, just the letter Z. Oh, wait, original Mark Z. I think you have to have original in there when you look for it. It's on YouTube and Twitch. And anyway, so he's been doing this for a long time, and for quite a while now, a guy named Mr. C calls in, and everybody knows what his name is. It's Michael Cottrell. That's his name. And he calls in, but he's all coding. He's coding. And he's using words that are like words that would jump out at us as a group. And phrases that I've been working on, or phrases that are easy to decode. And when you look at timestamps, like what time it is that he says certain things, it's coded. Just take my word for it. It's coded. So anyway, I just listened to one from. He comes on Friday mornings. I just listened to it last night, but it comes on Friday mornings, and Mark's show is on several times a day. You can listen to him. He does the news. He does all kinds. He's very informative. He's very, very helpful in our community, but he's not into decoding. He's not into that. But he has all kinds of important contacts who are involved in the reset, and even people at exchange centers, where you go to exchange things. So he does know what's going on. It's just that nothing has happened yet. And anyway, so Friday mornings is the one that Mr. C calls in on, and who is our junior, I'm pretty sure. I'm really pretty sure. And so Mark comes on at 10, and Mr. C tends to be in at about 10:15. So if you want to, and that's live. So listen to it, and you can ask questions. Like I wouldn't do an obvious question, because I don't think, like, oh, are you Juan O, Savin? Are you Joe? Are you, JFK Jr.? I wouldn't do that personally, because I don't think Mark would even read it off to him. Although, wait, I just remembered, Mr. C sees the chat going by. Now, we can't see it anymore like we used to. It used to just pop up on the screen when you're watching it, but Mark changed it, so I thought only he could see it. But now that I'm thinking about what I just listened to, he said, oh, can you see the chat, Mr. C? Can you see that question? So I guess Mr. C can see the questions too. So that would be interesting if you did put that in. But a moderator could maybe even block you. So not that I've seen that happen, but I don't know if I would say anything just yet. But it's fun to listen to them. And you can ask questions about the reset, the gold treaty, and Mr. C is the one who signs the gold treaty, which makes sense that it would be our junior. And so I would give that a listen. I really would. I would listen to him. Original Mark Z. At least Friday mornings around 10:15. But like I said, he's on all kinds of other times. If you want to hear the news, so you don't have to scroll through the news. If you want to hear some news highlights, and just listen to it that way. He does that during the day. So you can just put that on. And if you're watching it live, it's live several times a day. You can talk to other people and be encouraged, encourage each other. So anyway, I've been rambling for a really long time. So I love you guys. Take care. Look out for each other. And I'll see you soon. Bye.